ourselves because afternoon session is normally sometimes it is a bit tiring for the whole day, because this morning also we already have discussion. Okay, let's continue. The next two topics that we are going to discuss this afternoon is topic 5 and topic 6. Topic 5 is intangible assets. Okay, we will start with intangible assets, and after that provisions for contingent liabilities and contingent asset. Okay, intangible asset is actually quite important topic that we discussed in MFRS because I would say almost all company they will recognize in this intangible. Intangible will be the second line after PPE. That is why somehow I'm not sure about your opinion as a teaching lecturer. I would like to get some feedback from you all as well. Whether should we kind of like rearrange the standards? Sebab tadi saya pun tanya dengan Puan Kamila, ada few of you yang involved with the construction of the syllabus, right? So it's good if you can give me some insights lah. Definitely bila you all dah decide and then you dah arrange lah. Saya tak tahu sure, I'm not sure whether possible ke kita nak rearrange, because for me quite an important standard is actually PPE which I'm not sure lah kalau you all, I mean that is my opinion. I would like to hear the opinion from the rest of you as well. Okay, so PPE is the important one because I would say dan biasa memang kita ajar PPE dululah, because most of the company, I think 100% semua company mesti ada PPE kan. At least mesti ada equipment kan. Kalau tak ada property, sewa kan, sewa, ataupun let's say tak ada plant, machinery, mungkin tak offer, not a manufacturing company, maybe dia provide services, at least dia mesti ada plant juga, equipment lah basic meja kerusi lah, that we call equipment kan, yang kita guna for admin purpose. Bila my experience lah, based on my experience when I share with the students, we always discuss PPE as the first standard because all the company must have PPE. Okay, so the next one is intangible asset. This is non-current asset. Maybe tak semua, tapi almost lah juga yang the company that they may have intangible asset. Okay, an intangible asset, the definition as you can see here is an identifiable non-monetary asset without physical substance. Okay, so in this standard, most of the time we will discuss the two here lah, research and development. But not only research and development, we also have other types of intangible that we will see later. So okay, I also include definition of asset here. So asset is a resource. I think someone tak off the microphone. Is it the echo? Okay, I can't see you all punya. And I can't mute. I remember I'm not the admin. Okay. Anyway, research. Research is original and planned investigation undertaken with the prospect of gaining new scientific or technical knowledge and understanding. Okay. Then we have development. Okay, development is the application of research findings. Okay, Have you ever heard about this term, these two terms, R&D ni, research and development? Did you all, I mean, in FAR 5 and FAR 5 and FAR 4, when you have to when the students are required to prepare financial statement, did you include research and development as well? Can you give me some feedback about that?
There is only terms research and development that is included in the non-current asset lah. Maknanya cara nak recognize ke apa dia punya tu kita tak ada touch in detail.
Tak touch in detail, tapi the student know that research and development ni is one of item under non-current asset. I see. Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you for the response. Okay, good. So at least student dia dah ada basic knowledge lah on this research and development masa FAR 5 lah when they prepare financial statement. Okay, so for this discussion because we discussed the standards in detail, it is quite important that you all explain lah. I remember when I taught this the subject that dia ada MFRS that discuss MFRS 138, ada some quite what should I say, nanti bila baca MFRS 138 ni, I think you should have in your mind that research is not part of intangible asset. Research is not part of intangible. Cuma kita mungkin company memang tak ada lah actually masukkan expenses, cuma they just use the term research. Tapi when we discuss, if you can see here, okay, let me clarify further on research and development. Okay, research is the earlier stage. I would say earlier stage. Kan kita akan kena buat some investigation, original and planned investigation undertaken with the prospect of gaining new scientific or technical knowledge and understanding. So normally dengan lebih mudah saya akan always tell the students, research ni earlier stage. Tapi development is the next stage after research. Meaning most of the time company kena buat research dulu. After few years, depends after few years, then they will come to the next stage, which is development stage. Okay, development stage. So development is the application of research findings. Can you see here the terms research findings? Where these research findings is actually findings that we get from the research stage. I use the word, the research stage dengan development stage is the next stage lah, development stage. Or other knowledge to a plan or design for the production of new or substantially improved materials, devices, products, processes, systems or services before the start of commercial production or use. Okay, in this intangible asset, we use the term amortization. Basically amortization ni kalau PPE kita panggil apa? For PPE, for physical asset?
Depreciation.
Yes, thank you. At least you are listening to me. Okay, depreciation. So for PPE, we use the terms depreciation. For intangible asset, we use the term amortization. Then the definition is quite the same lah. I start dengan definition as I mentioned to you all this morning. Saya prefer lah personally, I myself prefer to introduce the definition of the terms to the students when they start to read. Before they nak start to read, they kena tahu definition of the terms. Okay? And then asset, I think the discussion on this definition of asset is everywhere. When we discuss PPE, you can find this definition of asset. Asset is a resource controlled by an entity. There must be element of control as a result of past event, and then there must be future economic benefits that are expected to flow to the entity. Ni the two lah, the two criteria of an asset. Okay, so we come to the example of intangible asset. We have computer software, patents, copyrights, motion picture films, customer list, mortgage, and many more. Tapi yang kita biasa dengar lah, based on my experience, macam patent, trademark, goodwill. There we come goodwill. I think saya ada next slide on this goodwill. I will discuss about goodwill later. Okay. So these are the criteria. Not all above example dekat atas ni kita boleh straight away panggil sebagai classified as intangible, because there are 3 criteria that must be met for that particular asset so that it can be classified as intangible asset. Identifiable, control over a resource, and existence of future economic benefits. So if an item within the scope of this standard does not meet the definition of an intangible asset, expenditure to acquire it or generate it is internally is recognized as an expense when it is incurred. Remember I told you this morning, when the company incur cost, acquiring let's say PPE, then kita boleh classify as PPE, maknanya kita boleh capitalize. Kita debit PPE. However, sama ada PPE tu kita cost tu kita classify as asset, kita capitalize. However, if we are not able to capitalize, it cannot be considered as an asset, meaning cost incurred tu mesti consider we must consider that as an expenses. Okay? However, if the item is acquired in a business combination, it forms part of the goodwill recognized at the acquisition date. Okay. Okay, an asset is identifiable. The term identifiable is being used in the standard. However, you must understand tadi kita kata intangible asset ni dia tak ada physical substance. Kita tak nampak. Tak nampak intangible asset. Tapi intangible asset must have this criteria, boleh dikenal pasti. Walaupun tak nampak, kalau kata let's say plant and machinery, kita nampak plant and machinery, kita dah boleh kenal pastilah. But even though it has no physical substance, the company must be able to identify this intangible. So how does the company identify the intangible? When it is separable, that is, it is capable of being separated or divided from the entity and sold. Boleh diasingkan, separable, and then transferred, boleh dipindahkan, and licensed, and rented, or exchanged, either individually or together with a related contract. Identifiable asset or liability regardless of whether the entity intends to do so. Maknanya kita boleh kenal pasti dan kita boleh jual. Kita boleh jual, kita boleh pindah. Baru boleh dikatakan identifiable. It is separable and arises from contractual or other legal rights, regardless of whether those rights are transferable or separable from the entity or from other rights and obligation. So an entity controls an asset. So an entity controls an asset if the entity has the power to obtain the future economic benefit. So as I mentioned, for an asset, it is important you remember the terms future economic benefits from the underlying resource, and to restrict the access of others to those benefit. Mesti boleh restrict others. Boleh restrict others from to access. The capacity of an entity to control the future economic benefits from an intangible would normally stem from legal rights. So bila sebut pasal power to obtain future economic benefit, power to restrict the access of others, macam kita kata kita ada patent kan? Patent. So kita company dah register patent tu under our name. So patent yang register under our name provide legal rights. Jadi patent tu kita boleh consider as an intangible asset to be recognized in the books of the company. That's the example lah, simple example that you can see when we discuss about the second part ni lah, arise from contractual or legal rights. And also yang the second part ni lah, okay. Future economic benefits flowing from an intangible asset may include revenue from sale of product. Kalau kita boleh jual lah, cost saving, kalau cost we can minimize, or other benefits resulting from the use of the asset by the entity. For example, the use of IP. Ini IP lah. So IP is one of the example of intangible. May kita gunakan IP in production may reduce future production cost. Ni mungkin kita ada special proses yang kita dah register as our own company punya intellectual property, IP. Okay. So this is actually identifiable. Okay, ni ialah intangible asset. I think this one should be somehow similar with recognition of an asset, all the asset including PPE, IP. And an intangible asset shall be measured initially at cost. Okay, yang ni saya nak highlight. Because when we discuss this topic masa my experience lah, kita memang nak students to be able to differentiate between internally generated goodwill dan internally generated intangibles, which should not be recognized as an asset. Internally generated, this is the keyword. Which this is actually different from goodwill on acquisition or goodwill on consolidation. Kan, kalau goodwill on consolidation, I hope those yang discuss dalam topik dalam FAR 5, Financial Accounting 5, in consolidation, you know that how does the goodwill arise? Due to one company acquire ordinary share in another company. Maknanya ada transaction kat situ, dia bukan internally generated. Internally generated ni tak ada acquisition of ordinary share capital, tak ada. Somehow after many years mungkin business tu rasa dia nak recognize goodwill on its own, yang dia create the numbers. Kan, katakanlah kalau kat Melaka ni kan ada few places yang viral kan. Bila dah viral, ada kan? Are you all still with me? Where is the place that you would like to go when you come to Melaka? Your favourite? Makan apa kat Melaka? Asam pedas kan?
Kuih keria.
Kuih keria. You know what? Kuih keria tu dia tu my house lah. Saya duduk dekat Lorong Pandan. Limbungan tu memang so near. Oh, suka kuih keria kan? Tapi kuih keria tu dah mahal lah sekarang Okay. So katakanlah kuih keria tu atau asam pedas kan kat Melaka kan. So after many years dah viral. Lepas tu everyone will keep coming. Jadi company tu, business tu rasa dia macam nak createkan, dia katakan as their own names. Brand, some sort of macam brand names lah, goodwill on its own lah. That is considered as internally generated. So let's say bila kita come up with that kind of situation, we do expect that student mesti jawab internally generated goodwill ni, katakanlah ataupun brand name, internally generated brand kan, should not be recognized as an asset. Company tak boleh recognize as an intangible asset. Dia tak sama dengan internally, dia tak sama dengan goodwill on consolidation. Okay, so I hope that after this, bila kita tengok ada goodwill recognized in statement of financial position, we understand that goodwill comes from business combination, from consolidation. Itu boleh. That is goodwill yang correctly being classified as intangible asset. Ada sebenarnya macam brands, tapi mesti yang kita acquire lah, kita kena beli. So the term that we always use to differentiate between sama ada boleh tak recognize company boleh recognize kalau dia purchase, beli. Ada transaction of purchase. However, kalau tak purchase tapi suddenly create, that is what we consider as internally generated. Okay, so internally generated is not considered as an intangible asset. Okay, so for this intangible asset, there's quite similar with PPE lah. Initially recognized at cost, and subsequently the company can choose either cost model or revaluation model. What is the difference between cost model and revaluation model? Is there any one of you would like to try?
Revaluation model guna fair value.
Come again?
Cost model at cost. Like recognize at cost. Revaluation model at fair value put.
Okay, thank you. Good try. Good try. Thank you. I think bukan dia seorang lah akan jawab macam tu. Semua orang akan jawab macam tu kalau first time lah jumpa cost model and revaluation model. Even my student pun dah ajar pun dah datang kelas Tapi bila test tak boleh nak clearly ni. Okay. Ada yang betul tapi ada sikit yang you kena tambah lah from that answer. Anyway, thank you for your response. Dah petang-petang ni saya rasa saya nak tanya banyak soalan nak, boleh ke? Takut. Tak ada Cost model ni bukan kata at cost then the cost amount to appear all the years for many years, tak lah Cost model basically ada depreciation atau amortization lah. Ini sebab kita tak discuss PPE sama. Nanti kalau saya discuss PPE esok sama juga PPE ada cost model and revaluation model. So cost model intangible, kalau you tengok how do we calculate under cost model ni? Basically kita akan calculate, apa kita panggil ni? Formula ni, cost minus accumulated amortization minus accumulated impairment loss. Kita panggil apa? Equal to what? Saya tak pandai nak.
Carrying value.
Carrying value, yes, Siti Fazina. Carrying value atau carrying amount. Very good. Very good. You can take note on that. Sama je. Carrying amount or carrying value equal untuk PPE as well as intangible asset. Sama. Kalau PPE ialah cost minus accumulated depreciation minus accumulated impairment. If intangible, cost minus accumulated amortization and minus accumulated impairment. Okay, that is cost model. And in this cost model, if the company adopted cost model for PPE and as well as intangible asset, what the company will do, they will basically do the impairment and they will basically do the amortization and depreciation to like what they have expected lah from the very beginning. Maknanya, like for example, we have the company recognize intangible asset. Katakanlah ada brand purchase, company ada purchase brands ataupun whatever the rest tadi lah yang bukan internally generated lah. Maknanya we have passed the first stage. The first stage is always to recognize. You must make sure tadi dia mesti ada kriteria yang separable, identifiable, future economic benefit. Dia maknanya dah pass the first criteria, dah fulfill the criteria, and then that amount can be capitalized, can be recognized as intangible asset. So dia akan measure initially at cost. Then after that, now we come to the next stage, which is subsequently. Let's say company recognize intangible asset tu like 10,000 and then ada useful life of 10 years. Okay, for intangible asset dia quite different sebab intangible asset dia ada useful life dia sama ada, saya rasa saya dah ada buat. Bawah ni. Okay ni, finite useful life. Bawah finite ataupun the other one is indefinite. Saya tak sure, kadang-kadang dia panggil indefinite. Kadang-kadang dia use the term infinite. Tapi dalam standard, I ambil ni daripada standard. So if it is infinite useful life, as you can see here, sorry. If it is finite useful life, so kita akan buat amortization. Let's say just now I give you example, intangible asset tu amount dia 10,000 and then company estimate that the useful life is 10 years, maknanya 10,000 every year company will provide for amortization. So the first year 10,000 minus 1,000. Ni saya baca je, saya tak prepare nak buat pen. Okay. I hope you can follow lah 10,000 for the first year minus minus amortization 1,000. So the following year 10,000 minus 2,000. Maknanya dia akan company will provide for amortization every year. Because they estimate like macam 10 years 10% useful 10 years useful lah, those so they amortize. That is cost model. Dan dia tak buat apa-apa lah after that. Revaluation model, if you look at the explanation here, an intangible asset shall be carried at revalue amount. Maknanya in this situation, company will revalue their asset. Same goes to PPE. Same goes to PPE. So you must understand, for PPE juga, when the company rasa dia nak revalue, katakanlah especially macam building kan, plant ni mungkin dia tak perlu revalue lah, mungkin macam kita kata pakai kereta, car atau vehicle of the company, biasa dia tak appreciate the value tak appreciate, we just depreciate je every year. Tapi like macam property, plant land company decided that they wanted to do revaluation of this asset, then maknanya company must choose revaluation model. But bear in mind for intangible and PPE, for revaluation model ni kita still kena provide for depreciation and amortization. Can you understand? Can you see here that being its fair value at the date of revaluation less any subsequent accumulated amortization and any subsequent accumulated impairment loss. Maknanya company automatically kalau asset of the company tu intangible dengan PPE, dia mesti kena provide for amortization and depreciation. Kalau building dia mesti akan provide depreciation lah. Kalau land biasa kita tak provide depreciation sebab land ni dia tak ada useful life kan. Dia punya useful life dia kita assume forever lah kan land. Building yes, company still have to provide depreciation for building for owner occupied building, which being classified as PPE. Pernah dengar tak ni? PPE PPE tu kita akan discuss besok PPE. Then saya nak I want you all to make sure you faham beza antara PPE dengan IP. Okay, good. So revaluation model ni kena revalue lah if the company adopted revaluation model. If cost model, company is not allowed to revalue. Okay. So this is intangible asset with finite useful life, meaning ada useful life. Finite meaning the useful life is useful life can be determined. It can be 50 years, 70 years ke kan? Useful life can be determined. However, if you look at here, intangible asset with indefinite useful life, dia tak ada useful life lah. So kalau tak ada, there is no useful life cannot be determined. So maknanya intangible asset tu shall not be amortized. It cannot be amortized lah, senang. Tak bahagi berapa useful life tak ada kan? Useful life indefinite. So it shall not be amortized. Okay. However, you must understand this is very important. Even though useful life tu kita tak boleh determine and then it is not being amortized, however, every year company must make sure they revise this useful life. It must be review each period. Maknanya katakanlah in the year 20, let's say lah tahun 2020 company decided to recognize this the intangible asset that the company recognize 10,000. Lepas tu tak ada useful life. there is no useful life, meaning the company will not amortize tahun 2020. Tapi in the next year, tahun 2021, company must review useful life tu, tahun tu pula. Kalau still tak ada useful life, then tak apa, then it will not be amortized. The following year, 2022 pun still company need to review. Okay? Shall be reviewed each period to determine whether events and circumstances continue to support an indefinite useful life for assessment for that asset. Maknanya next year, betul tak? Is it that the indefinite useful life tu still valid? Tapi katakanlah dah tak valid, the company found out that now the useful life is no longer indefinite, then kena ni lah, change the estimates. Change the estimate. Just now remember we discussed accounting estimates. Instead of useful life dia indefinite, now kita kata company come out with the best estimate that useful life is now 10 years. So kena amortize lah, company will start to amortize. Once it is, the best estimate now is to have a finite useful life of 10 years. Are you all with me?
Ada.
Okay, good. Saya dah sebut lah apa yang saya dah explain lah tadi, change in accounting estimates. And then, it's not here, is it? Ni tak ada lah impairment one more thing if let's say the company estimate that the useful life to is indefinite, the company must as well determine whether there is an impairment of this intangible asset. Determine the impairment. Maknanya, let's say company in the previous year, company has already recognized intangible asset of 10,000. Lepas tu no indefinite useful life. The following year, still indefinite useful life. Tapi kena test lah And then company need to test as well for the impairment. Is it that the intangible asset still 10,000 ringgit? Still can be recognized at 10,000. Ada tak perlu kena reduce from 10,000 that's what the company need to do. Okay, this is derecognition. Shall be derecognized on disposal. Since this is the first asset yang kita discuss, intangible kan. Sebenarnya kita akan discuss lagi asset which is PPE dengan IP. Intangible dengan inventories lah tadi, tapi kita tak discuss detail dengan derecognition. So derecognition of intangible ni sama sebenarnya untuk PPE dengan IP. Nanti next time tomorrow kita discuss PPE and IP. It is on disposal. And then when no future economic benefits are expected from its use or disposal. Okay, this is derecognition. Kalau saya tak sure lah, Infa 2 ke FA1 ke dia tak belajar disposal of asset? Ada kan? Biasa dekat basic level pun kita memang ada ajar kan. On disposal, where the company need to determine gain or loss on disposal. Gain or loss on disposal. Meaning, how to calculate gain or loss on disposal? When we have to compare between sales proceeds and the carrying amount of an asset. If sales proceed is more than carrying amount, meaning it will result to gain. Kalau kita jual pada harga yang lebih tinggi daripada carrying amount, dia gain lah. So any gain or loss on disposal shall be determined in rising shall be determined as the difference between the net disposal proceeds, if any, and the carrying amount shall be of the asset. It shall be recognized in profit or loss when asset is derecognized. Unless MFRS 116. requires otherwise on sale and leaseback. Gains shall not be recognized as revenue. Yang ni something yang I would like to highlight as well. It is important for you, for the students to be able to differentiate between revenue dengan gain. Revenue must come from the normal trading activity of the business. Normal trading activity. Tapi kalau let's say company dispose asset, the gain on disposal is not revenue. Dia lah gain, dia tak boleh appear ke atas lah before when we calculate gross profit. Meaning it will appear after the calculation of gross profit. Ni dalam financial, dalam profit or loss, statement of profit or loss. Okay, now quiz. Okay, can you please maybe read this question? I give you 3 minutes. Okay, are you all still listening and following?
Yes.
Okay, good. I'm not sure whether petang-petang ni boleh boleh masuk ke tidak. Do you find yourself today now? Okay, when I just now posed the question, I would like to apologize because I do not really discuss in detail what is research and development. Ni the one that just now earlier I mentioned about research and development. I remember when I even taught this topic, when I taught the topic before that lah, most of the time kadang-kadang kita nampak dalam financial statement, statement of financial position, we always like macam nampak R&D, R&D. However, I would like to highlight that after we discuss MFRS 138 on intangible asset, we should drop the terms research. It is no longer research and development. It's supposed to be only development lah, development. Okay, so can you all see here we have the standard now? Okay, nampak standard Okay kan semua? Okay, so this is the standard. Again, kita recall balik lah I'm not sure lah tapi myself, I like to share this standard with the students so that they can read from the standard. They tahu macam mana nak download from the MASB website, and then after they download, then how do they want to read the standard? Okay, so can you see here that Nation Accounting Standard Board issued MFRS 138. This is the one I always also will highlight to the student. MFRS 138 is equivalent to IAS 38. Remember I mentioned this morning the development of standard issued by IASC, then after that they changed to IASB. So IASC actually yang issued IAS ni kira macam lama lah yang ada dua nombor ni IAS, dia IAS IAS 38 become being adopted in Malaysia become MFRS 138. Same goes to PPE PPE ialah IAS 16. Bila sampai Malaysia kita tambah satu kat depan MFRS 116. Is equivalent to standard issued by IASB, IAS 38. So I mentioned to the student, you should be very proud to yourself that you are now learning the standard issued internationally in UK. So saya nak mention tadi, and then after that you can see we have content. Always tengok table of content. In this table of content ada capital letter, meaning this is the main topic. Ada objective, scope, definition. Nampak tak? This is the this is not capital letter kan? Not in capital letter, intangible asset. So we start with maknanya scope, definition, then recognition and measurement. Dia tak masukkan dekat sini ni lah ni research and development. Okay, maybe so these are the, okay, when you read the standard, I also will tell my students, bila you baca standard, please always read the objective, paragraph 1. Ni I will make it compulsory. Bila baca standard, mesti baca objective. Why do we have this standard in the first place? Apa dia objective of this standard? Is to prescribe the accounting treatment for intangible assets that are not dealt with specifically in another standard. Dia kata, this standard requires entity to recognize intangible asset if and only if specified criteria are met. So the standard also use this word, if and only if. If and only if, which is quite interesting terms that is being used in the standard. Nah, you all tahulah kalau standard ni sama macam akta kan, law kan. The term that they use, dia memang a bit orang kata sophisticated terms lah. The standard also specify how to measure the carrying amount of intangible asset and requires specified disclosures about intangible asset. Okay, can you see here we have some in bold, hitam kan, hitam. Some not in bold. So kalau saya explain to student, for the first round, you should read all from paragraph 1, mesti kena baca lah. Paragraph 1 compulsory kena baca. Then paragraph 2, 3, 4, baca one time, one round. However, for this one with bold, you kena highlight and you kena baca more than one time. Bacalah 2, 3 times because the one with bold ni kira consider as important. So, did you all agree with me? Okay, so in this MFRS 138, can you see here we have definitions? This is the one just now I mentioned. When you read the standard, make sure you search for definition. And this definition can be either in appendix. Appendix maknanya at the back lah. Ada, tengok kat sini ada tak appendix? Dekat dalam standard ni tak ada appendix. No appendix. So, maknanya the definition tu you can find in here, paragraph 8. Paragraph 8. This is where you can find the definition. So, kalau saya bold ni, paragraph 8 ni, definition of terms ni is compulsory for the students. Kalau saya, when I will tell my students to make sure you read this definition of terms. Okay, saya nak sebut pasal research and development. Just now the question is on research and development. However, any one of you would like to say something about your answer? You know the answer already? Okay, ni research. Research is in paragraph 54. I hope you can see here we have paragraph 54, research phase. No intangible asset arising from research shall be recognized or from the research phase of an internal project. Tak boleh recognize, no intangible asset shall be recognized. Expenditure on research or on the research phase of an internal project shall be recognized as an expense when it is incurred. So if you look at the question tadi, what is the question just now, if you can tell me? Hesher Berhad has been involved in the developing new brand of health product to enhance vibrance and immune system. The following research expenditure. Nampak tak ada stages of R&D? Are you all still with me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Saya takut saya ni dah terkeluar ke apa, senyap je semua. Semuanya senyap ni khusyuk ke? Dah tidur kat belakang tu. Okay. So you can see from the question, dia ada column stages of R&D. Can you see here we have research stage. Ni dia mesti follow lah. R mesti come first, research. Research stage. And then development stage 1, development stage 2. So if you look at the question is in the next page. Accounting treatment of the research and development cost. I think at this diploma level, ni soalan yang saya ambil memang at the diploma level. Saya memang ambil soalan daripada yang diploma, bukan degree. Accounting treatment. They use the term accounting treatment, which normally accounting treatment is for the students to explain. They can explain lah, how do they take into account research cost as well as development cost. Okay, so kalau you tengok in this paragraph 54, research shall be recognized as an expense when it is incurred. Now let's move to development phase. Under paragraph 57, an intangible asset arising from development stage or in development phase shall be recognized if and only if an entity can demonstrate all of the following. So when you read the standard, masa saya ajar pun kalau I will always mention to the student, when you read carefully, because some of the standards ni, paragraph ni dia mention either one of the following. However, for this part, all of the following. Dia mesti kena demonstrate all the following. So we have what? How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 criteria. So there are 6 criteria. I remember when I was a student pun, even we are having physical class before the pandemic, they must be able to kind of like remember the recognition criteria for a development stage. However, when you read the criteria ni, I would say that the criteria ni is quite ada relationship lah between each other. And they are the keyword dia. So it is important to highlight the keyword to the students. Okay, for A, technical feasibility of completing the intangible asset so that it will be available for use. Can you see the word complete? Meaning, the project tu must be able to be completed. Kalau lah, let's say, company come out with the idea, let's say lah, company yang, I give you some, I think most of the time I will give this example to my students. Company produce pen, katakanlah pen, but this pen ni, with the innovation of the R&D company department in that company, dia nak come out dengan pen yang boleh boleh tulis sendiri katakan. Payah yang tulis tu tak payah ingat. Maknanya kalau tulis je development, okay dah tahu dah A apa B apa. Pen tu boleh jalan sendiri. Dia gunakan AI, let's say for example. Pen yang boleh jawab exam, pen yang boleh memorize lah, memorize content of the topic, and then pen tu boleh kita pegang je pun pen tu boleh jawab exam sendiri. Contohlah Okay, so complete tak? Is the company be able to complete the project? After many years, company dah come out dengan pen, dah come out with a prototype, prototype of the pen. However, let's say one of the scientists tu mati. So tak boleh dah nak continue with the project. Maknanya company mesti kena expense off lah at that moment. Faham tak maksud saya? At the moment, dia tak, don't be surprised lah kalau development phase ni, it takes more than, it takes many years lah many years for R&D, for a company. Kita tak expect 1 year. We expect more than 1 year. Katakanlah in the first 2 years, research stage, research phase. So company will expense off. How much is the amount that they incur? Dah buat research dah ni, pen ni macam mana yang dikatakan boleh detect AI the first 2 years research stage, so definitely it must be expense off. And then in the 3rd year, 4th year, company come up with the prototype, and it seems at that time in the 4th year tu company will be able to complete. Maknanya dia meet the criteria A ni, the technical feasibility of completing the intangible asset. Boleh complete ni. Its intention to complete. Company memang in the 4th year tu dia company estimate it will take like another 2 years to complete. Kita boleh buat pen ni. Dia katakan it can be successfully completed. Lepas tu boleh jual, use or sell. Then the company, if you look at the criteria lah, this is that's why I just now mentioned that A, B, C, D, E, F ni dia kind of like quite related to each other. So D, intangible asset tu its ability to use or sell. And then intangible asset tu will generate probable future economic benefits. Maknanya kita tahu bila kita jual pen ni kita boleh dapat sales juta. And then ada market, entity can demonstrate the existence of a market for the output. Memang ada ramai student yang tunggu-tunggu ni, pen yang boleh jawab soalan exam. Tak payah fikir dah. The entity can demonstrate the existence of a market for the output. Okay? The availability of adequate technical, financial and other resources to complete the development. Maknanya saintis semua ada. Okay, so maknanya in the 4th year when the company can demonstrate that all the 6 criteria can be met, maknanya cost incurred starting from the date that the company believe they can complete the project, they meet all the criteria, cost incurred to can be capitalized. Now company can actually recognize intangible asset in their financial statement, financial position. Faham tak ni? Nah, ni yang quite technical which you need to understand lah, tapi simple lah actually. Company must be able to demonstrate all the 6 criteria must be met. Katakanlah in the 4th year, company dah start to capitalize. 4th year, tahun yang keempat, tahun yang kelima. Suddenly tahun ke-6 belum sempat complete lagi. Tapi company dah tak ada adequate technical ability. Katakanlah saintis. Kadang-kadang saya buat lawak juga lah dalam kelas when I explain this part. Katakanlah saintis tu meninggal kan, mati. Now nobody in that department will be able to continue his work. In that situation and the project tu memang belum complete lagi. Now the cost incurred tu memang kita kena expense off. And the amount yang kita dah capitalize in year 4, year 5 tu kita mesti expense off. We must reverse back, reverse lah. We must, what do we call that? Kind of like written off lah. It must be written, amount tu must be written off as an expense. Okay? Because, yes.
So kalau macam tadi kita dah capitalize, so tiba-tiba dia tak qualify kriteria dia, so kita akan expense off in the year yang kriteria tu being ni lah
betul.
Okay.
In that year lah.
Alright.
In that year lah, kita tak ada kata in the 2 years ago ke tak lah. Kita akan
as of waktu tu je lah kan?
Because at that moment baru, yes, correct. At that moment baru kita kata this development stage ni dah no longer the criteria, the 6 criteria no longer orang kata fulfill. Right? Okay. Very good. Thank you for the question. Is this something yang you memang, this is quite new kan? Is it?
Yelah, sebab dalam DIA memang tak ajar lagi.
Okay, good. So intangible asset, kalau yang saya faham kita akan discuss more on research and development lah. Tapi kita ada juga soalan macam patent, trademark, cuma kita kena highlight to the students. If it is internally generated, if you can see here, internally generated intangible asset, dia tak boleh recognize as intangible lah. Macam katalah soalan kata internally generated customer list. Customer list is one of item under intangible. Tapi tak boleh recognize as intangible, tak boleh capitalize. Okay, that is the development phase. Okay, ni sometimes I know students we get confused lah. Apa benda yang dikatakan dalam research stage? Saya lupa nak mention. Examples of research activities. This is in paragraph 56. Example of research activities are activities aimed at obtaining new knowledge. The search for, evaluation and final selection of application or research findings or other knowledge. The search for alternatives for materials, devices, products, processes, systems or services. The formulation, design, evaluation and final selection of possible alternatives for new or improved materials, devices, products, processes, systems or services. So as you all know lah, bila company involved with this project, internal research and development ni not only for them to come out with new product. Sometimes they wanted to come up with new process, new systems that they wanted to apply in the company. Pun dia nak buat research and development kan, buat research and development. So same goes to that kind of research and development lah, as you can see here. I would say Normally with the students, that research stage ni ialah earlier stage. Beginning stage. Beginning stage kita kena macam let's say, I give example lah to the students so that dia boleh nampak kan. Kalau katakanlah company nak come up with a pen yang orang kata ada AI punya features. So dia mesti come out with dulu, research dulu. Okay, what are the brand of pen ke yang conventional pen? What is the main features of a pen kan? Dia mesti come up with activities yang at the early stage lah, early stage. Macam kalau kata buat research, some sort macam kita buat LR macam tu, is part dalam reading tu kita dah faham content of the topic that kita nak discuss in that particular research. Okay, so example of development activities, yang ni dia dah lebih orang kata more technical part, where the design, construction and testing of pre-production or pre-use prototypes models, the design of tools and jigs, molds and dies involving new technology. Ni dia dah come up with prototype lah. Dia dah come up dengan, dah nampak dah product. Kalau let's say they wanted to come up with the new product. Product is there. Pen tu dah nampak dah. Kalau kata nak proses, dia dah already have clear process of that in this R&D. Design dah ada, construction, operation of pilot plant. Kalau let's say this involved in the commercial production. Kalau katalah company nak come up with new plant, new plant. Okay, that is development stage. Example of development activities. This is the one that maybe you can we can include lah under intangible asset. And I mentioned tadi dah mention kan, initially measured at cost, and then company can choose either cost model or revaluation model. Okay. Kalau soalan yang saya bagi tadi, okay, kalau dalam soalan yang saya bagi tadi, what do you think should be so you should mention accounting treatment, right? Accounting treatment for the year and cost incurred in the research stage of 1 million should not be recognized as an asset. Mungkin you boleh highlight because we are talking about intangible. Normally kita advise student first kena jawab boleh tak recognize as an intangible atau tak. Kita jawab yang tu dulu, then after that kalau tak boleh then apa kita buat. So for this to answer the first part, which is accounting treatment of research, you have to mention as well how much is the amount, how much is the amount available. Ni saya include some question lah, actually for you to be able to untuk you all boleh nampak clear saya masukkan soalan. Saya tak tahu dah untuk subjek ni soalan dia apa. So the first one, the research stage of 1 million ringgit shall not be recognized as an intangible because it does not, because referring to MFRS 138, amount involved in research activities shall be expensed off. That's how students try to explain lah. How about 31st December 2019, the amount of 2 million ringgit? What do you think? Anyone would like to try?
Expense off.
Okay, thank you for the response. Saya tak nampak lah siapa yang bercakap. Okay, thank you. What is the keyword that you can get from the question in that second bullet tu kan, bawah table tu? Development stage. Development cost incurred at this stage could not provide convincing evidence that economic benefits of the project would flow to the company. Dia tak boleh provide convincing evidence. This one you can refer to the Tadi dia kata tak boleh generate future economic benefit. Dia tak meet one of the criteria when we discuss development phase just now. Saya tak tahu kat mana tadi, jap. I would like to refer to paragraph 57. Dia tak meet D. Generate probable future economic benefit. Dia tak meet D, maknanya kalau even D saja tak meet, consider dah tak. Inilah because in this paragraph 57, it is mentioned if and only if an entity can demonstrate all of the following. You boleh take note as this is referring to paragraph 57, 57. Okay? So this development cost amounted to 2 million ringgit in the year 2019 shall not be recognized as an intangible. It must be expense off. Okay? Baru clear kan? Shall not be recognized as an intangible asset. It must be expense off. Okay, now let's move to the third year, 2020. The next development stage was finally completed 30th June 2020. And from 1st January 2020 till 30th June 2020, the project was viewed as successful and the company was expected to commercialize the product by the end of July 2020. So we have the amount of 1.93 million incurred during development stage 2, which how do you actually treat what you will do with this 1.93 million? It can be capitalized. Yes, very good. It can be capitalized. Kalau saya bagi contoh macam ni lagi nampak kan bila kita nak discuss research and development ni Boleh Do you find it very
Setuju.
I hope it can benefit you lah. Tadi pun saya ada tanya dengan Puan Kamila. I really do not know what is the expectation of the program kan. So I hope you all boleh provide some input lah. Just now you mentioned that you all pernah attend training which quite some time kan from Jane Lazar kan. Dia memang expert lah. Saya cuba buat, I try my very best lah based on my experience in UITM when I share with my students lah how do they answer, even how to cope dengan belajar financial accounting and reporting MFRS. Actually there are a lot more standards. Kalau saya dah ajar sampai level degree, banyak lagi sebenarnya standard yang student akan kena tahulah. Tapi macam yang saya cakap tadi, yang the most important one, actually you all dah cover lah dalam ACC 2673 ni, very good. Cuma mungkin in terms of the arrangement the arrangement. Okay, so far any question before we move to the next one? I think we are quite ahead of time. We still have more time here, or maybe we can go back early.
Setuju. Habis setuju.
Saya rasa kalau ada because how many of you yang ajar semua file 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Dah pernah ajar? Tak ada.
Semua kecuali Fatri.
Oh, ada yang belum ajar Fatri, okey. Yang lain? Fatri. Tak ada. Yang ajar semua file 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Tak ada.
Tak ada.
Tak ada. Anyway, thank you for your response. Okay. Boleh tak saya nak tahu sebelum you all come out dengan paper ACC 2673 ni, what is the paper file yang ada masa part 6 ni? Semester 6. Tak ada file, baru nak create ni yang paper ni.
Baru Puan.
Baru.
Maknanya sebelum ni masa student tu semester 6 tak ada subjek financial accounting lah. Dia subjek lain. Ke?
Okay.
Ha?
Berapa Kita ada dulu 6 semester tapi dia ada semester panjang, semester pendek. So masa semester pendek tu kita selalu tak offer macam dia cukup untuk 5 dia cover 5 FA je. Lepas tu kita ada financial statement analysis.
Oh, maknanya sebelum ni ada financial statement analysis tapi now no more. You plan to scrap off that financial.
Yes.
Okay. Semester panjang berapa minggu? Semester pendek berapa minggu?
Panjang 14, pendek 7. Masa dulu lah. Sekarang dah 12 dah. 3 semester sama panjang.
How many years already you change to 12 ni? Quite sometimes
Baru
Baru. 1 year.
Baru SEM
2
ni.
semester.
2 SEM, 2 SEM.
2 SEM. Baru 2 SEM 12 minggu.
Ya.
So you are still lah Kalau baru 2 SEM, what is the first batch yang macam mana nak tanya tadi saya?
1 SEM, 2 SEM.
Yang highest batch maknanya you all dah ada yang graduate lah kan, betul tak? This diploma in accounting ni dah been in KPM many years, right?
Dah lama dah Puan.
Dah lama lah So
sebab kita tukar ni sebab kita ambil kesempatan lah atas compliance kepada MQF 2.0.
I see.
2.0 dulu 1.0 kan. So bila kita dah terlanjur mengubah struktur program semua, lepas tu kita ambil kesempatan lah tengok revise balik content FA kita dan kita introduce a new subject lah, new kursus macam tu lah.
Okay,
Kita rasa kita tertinggal lah daripada orang lain lah macam tu.
Okay.
And then kita pun introduce satu lagi principles of Islamic accounting macam tu lah. Islamic accounting pun dia kan akan deal juga dengan standard macam tu lah, tapi bagus lah. So maksudnya dia berjalan macam student ada knowledge in MFRS dan juga dia ada knowledge dalam Islamic punya standard jugalah.
Okay, thank you for your response. So you dah come up with some selected topics lah untuk this ACC 2673. Very good. You all incorporate revenue is something yang I'm quite happy to see because revenue is quite new one lah Kalau dekat UiTM I think Mrs. tak masuk lah kalau sebab saya ajar degree sebenarnya. Saya mungkin kena refer. Cuma degree level pun sebab dekat UiTM kan kita ada degree yang datang daripada matrix student matrix dia akan belajar subjek yang diploma tu. Sebab student after dia dah completed diploma dia akan sambung dalam semester 3. So the first semester 1-2 tu memang basic lah yang actually kita ajar masa diploma. Saya ajar diploma sebenarnya sebelum ni lepas tu baru saya ajar degree. Anyway dia cuma lebih technical lah, tapi tadi bila tanya pasal assessment kita tak decide lagi kan assessment kan. Kalau assessment saya tengok 50-50 kan, betul? Exam is 50.
Betul.
Exam is 50. Final assessment, ongoing assessment is as well 50. So this is the first time lah sebab for 5 it is 40-60 kan?
Betul.
Maknanya FA 1, FA 2, FA 3, 4, FA 5 is 40-60. So yang ini ialah 50-50. Assessment is 50. Cuma bila assessment 50 ni sebenarnya dia punya projek tu sebenarnya banyak. Dia banyak lah kan. Kalau degree kita memang expect quite orang kata substantive punya, sebab saya mengajar salah satu subjek degree, dia 50-50 juga assessment dia. Ni mungkin kita boleh fikirkan hari ni esok lah, kot lah hari ni petang ni ke malam ni boleh terfikir kan, before we really discuss lagi thoroughly tomorrow kan. 50-50 ni memang kita kena tengok dia punya assessment tu should be yang reflective of the 50% lah. Boleh tak saya nak tanya 50-50 ni untuk ada subjek, ada tak juga 50-50 untuk semester 6 ni? Mungkin yang Islamic Finance tu you all letak 50-50 juga ke? How about other subject? Do you have other subject with 50-50 as well?
So far we have taxation 1, Puan, 50-50.
Okay, taxation 1 50-50 as well lah. So this yang ni fundamentals of financial reporting ni pun you okay, tak apa. Just to get, because saya terfikir nak tanya yang tu. Okay, let's continue. So the next one is topic 6.